Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Game Patrol. It is the 20th episode of our amazing podcast, plus 6. That equals 26. You're welcome for that. Joining me once again is good old Trace Griffiths. How you doing, buddy? Going through some technical issues, are we?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, there we go.
Myself.
Okay. you cut out for a second and then it sped through like what you said. So it was like you on like 3 times speed or whatever. But yeah, we're good now. But possibly. Your connection is good when you don't speak, but then when you start speaking, it decides to not be good. But anyway, we will get into the games coming this week because we've got a lot of them. One, we're going to talk a lot about Xbox today. I mean, the Xbox Series S and X launched 2 days ago, and then now we're getting the PS5 2 days, so happy PS5 launch day. But we've heard some stuff about the PS5, but we still, we haven't heard a whole lot. So we're going to talk all about the PlayStation 5 next week. Oh, looks like he dropped out. So we'll possibly get him back soon. But anyway, with the games coming this week, we got a lot of PlayStation games coming because, we've got a lot of hype around that, got the launch games, that sort of stuff. So out today is Spider-Man Miles Morales for PS5 and PS4 in the latest adventure in the Marvel's Spider-Man universe. Sorry, my phone was ringing. Teenager Miles Morales is adjusting to his new home while following in the footsteps of his mentor, Peter Parker, as a new Spider-Man. But when his fierce power struggle threatens to destroy his new home, the aspiring hero realizes that with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Just letting him know. But yeah, so the reviews are really, really good for this. People are really excited with it. It is a 8 to 10 hour adventure that is a $50 game. But however, it's not to say that there's only 10 hours of content there. There's plenty of side stuff. They say that it does feel like its own sort of separate own game, while it might not be quite as big as Spider-Man. Hold on. Looks like he's getting back in here, so we'll let him back on in.
Okay.
You're all good?
Maybe.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. But we were just talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales, which, that's pretty exciting. But I was saying that basically people refer to it as Spider-Man 1.5. It's not quite as much as the original Spider-Man game, obviously. And it gets to the point where it's like, is it necessarily, I don't know. Everybody was talking, is it worth $50 for a game that has an 8 to 10 hour story? But I will say that while it has an 8 to 10 hour story, this is a completely new world. I shouldn't necessarily say completely new world to explore, but there's a whole bunch of new stuff with an open world game. I think because it's obviously, like I said, it's a lot more than 8 to 10 hours. That is just for the story. So therefore you go and you do all this other side stuff. You can do all the criminals activities and stuff. And so if you put all of the side stuff in there, I think it is worth their $50, especially when people are so highly praising the story of this game. In fact, some people are even saying that they prefer the story to this game versus the regular Spider-Man game, because since it is more condensed, there's no filler, every single moment, every single scene in the game is meant to be there, and it feels like it has some sort of significance, and so it makes for a really, really strong, compact story. And so I know a lot of people have been saying, a lot of Xbots have been saying that they're, oh, wow, your big launch game is a glorified DLC, blah, blah, blah. But people are really, really loving this. And so It is out today. Do you have any thoughts on Miles Morales, Trace?
Uh, not not that I know of.
All right. But also out today is Sackboy: A Big Adventure for PS5 and PS4. Iconic PlayStation hero Sackboy bursts back into breathtaking action with a huge, fun, and frantic 3D multiplayer platforming adventure and a whole new edgy Sactitude. And here's what's going down. The dastardly Vex, a near-mythical being born of chaos and fear no less, kidnaps Sackboy's friends and forces them to build his topsy-turver. So, it's more Little Big Planet, except it's not Little Big Planet. That's basically what it is. And so, honestly, I saw someone tweeting out today, the PS5 has a lot of really good family-friendly games. Like Miles Morales, that's T for teen games, so maybe not give that to your 5-year-old, but they've got Sackboy, they got Bug Snacks, they've got the Pathless. There's a bunch of really cool family-friendly games launching on the PS5, and that's actually really cool. It's actually got a really diverse launch lineup, which I think is really, really cool. I think Xbox also has some cool, diverse launch games. It just so happens that most of them are older, but, both of them, I will applaud both for having a diverse launch lineup. And so that's coming out today. And then, of course, the PS5 is dropping today. I mentioned it earlier, but experience lightning-fast loading with an ultra-high-speed SSD, deeper immersion with support for haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and 3D audio, and an all-new generation of incredible PlayStation games. So people are really loving the PS5, especially the SSD. Like I said, we're going to get into the specifics of the PS5 more next week, but after, it's been out in the wild for a little bit. But people are going nuts over the PS5 and just its capabilities. And so I think the big problem with both consoles right now is just a lack of games that really take advantage of the hardware. But the hardware itself is definitely something that people are really excited about. Are you interested in the PS5, Trace? Is that something you're looking into?
I am, but the money-wise, it is very expensive, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm looking forward to spending all that much money in a console.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, console launches, there's very, very little reason to buy a console at launch because, A, it doesn't have a lot of games. Now, the PS5 and Series X/S, they have the advantage of having backwards compatibility, so you can play, all of the PS4 and Xbox One games, but there's not a whole lot of reason to get a console at launch, especially with the PS5, because there's only like 630 gigabytes of usable space on the SSD, and they're not allowing you to use expandable storage yet because they haven't come out with their own. So you can't get an external drive. You have to stick with these 600 some gigabytes, which Call of Duty takes almost half of. And so it's looking a little rough for the PS5 in terms of storage. And the Series X, while it does have the expandable storage option, to be fair, it does have I think it's 800 and some usable gigabytes of space. And then they do let you use stuff, including HDDs. You can use external hard drives. It's just going to be very, very painful to use when you have this SSD, which loads much faster. But the external SSDs cost $200. So it's a lot of money to get that. And so storage is definitely going to be an issue this generation, and I hope that that's something we see mended sooner rather than later. But there are all these launch issues. It's not something uncommon. Every launch has them, and so it's not necessarily something that a lot of people want to deal with. If you get a console at launch, you're a diehard fan, or you're part of the games industry. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot of reason because it really doesn't make that much sense because it's going to get cheaper later on. It's going to be bundled with things. It's going to have a lot of the issues fixed later on.
A lot more games.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's not really the best idea to get one at launch anyway. Plus this whole fiasco with coronavirus. My PS5 says it isn't going to get here until Monday, and it made me mad because it was saying it was going to arrive today. It was saying it was going to arrive today until literally 12 hours ago when it's now it's coming Monday. And so, and then some people are being made aware that they're not going to get their Xboxes until December. And so it's like it's all over the place, and they're not having any PS5s available in store, but yet somehow they're going to sell 7 million of them before March. And so it's like it's a mess. It's a mess. But we'll see. So there's plenty more games coming out today, though. The Pathless for PS5, PS4, PC, and iOS comes out today from the creators of Abzu. The Pathless is the mythic adventure of an archer and an eagle in a vast forest. Become the hunter, a master of archery who travels to a mystical island to dispel a curse of darkness that grips the world. So I'm really excited about this game. I'm actually planning on playing it very soon. I'm very excited to play it. I like the movement in the game. I like the aesthetic of it. I think it's going to be a cool little indie darling to play, and it's another great option for the PS5 if you're looking for some games to play. While it might not be a huge AAA experience, it's a really cool game that's being received pretty well. Also, you gotta have it every year. It's Just Dance 2021 for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia out today. So Just Dance 2021 is the ultimate dance game with 40 hot new tracks from chart-topping hits like Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa, Feel Special by Twice, and Señorita by Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. Start a dance party your friends and family can enjoy. So my thoughts about Just Dance are the same as that of sports games, to the fact that there's no reason it should be a yearly thing, but people keep buying it every single year, so it's going to keep being a yearly release. To be fair, Just Dance started doing better. I think it was a couple years ago when they launched their subscription service where you can get updated tracks and then tracks back from like previous Just Dance games. And I think that's a really good way, because the problem with Just Dance is like Señorita, like that is an old song now. And so I don't really care about like any of these songs. Don't Start Now is still kind of relevant, but a lot of the songs, I don't know all of the tracks that are going to be on this, but it's like, and it makes sense because, they have to develop the dances for these songs, and so they can't really do songs that released last week. But it's like the timeliness, it becomes an issue. However, if they come out with one every few years and then continue updating it with the subscription service, I think that would be a much better value. But they're making more money this way, so they're going to continue doing it, and it keeps selling. Like, I don't know anybody that gets Just Dance games anymore, but, like, for kids, like, that's a yearly thing. Like, the parents I mean, when I was a kid, back Just Dance 3, that was my shit. I loved that game, like, in the Wii era, and that's why Just Dance games kept coming out on the Wii until literally last year. Last year was the Just Dance 2020 is the official last game for the Wii. They were still coming out with Wii games. Yes, last year they came out with a Wii game. Yeah, they kept coming because they kept selling. People were still getting Just Dance games on the Wii more like it. Because honestly, Just Dance games kind of suck now because you use your phone to track, and I'm not confident on the accuracy.
I was going to say, how are you supposed to use them?
Because I have Just Dance 2020. I actually do. I bought it. It's honestly kind of as a joke, and then started messing around with it. And yeah, you use your phone to track, and it's like, I'm not confident in its accuracy. But, on the Switch is basically like a new Wii. You use the Joy-Cons, and it works really well. I remember after I got my Switch playing the demo of Just Dance 2017 just to, like, try out games on the Switch, and it did. It worked really well with the Joy-Cons. And so for kids, like, I'm sure Just Dance sells like hotcakes on the Switch, and it's going to continue to, as because people are dumb, but that's just how things work. It's the same as a sports game. Any yearly game, like Call of Duty to an extent as well. Like I think Call of Duty doesn't I think it does a lot better than sports games and Just Dance in terms of like varying things up, but it's also kind of in that same vein. But also today, Godfall for PS5 and PC. Save Aperion, you are the last of the Valorian Knights, masters of combat equipped with legendary armor called Valor Plates. Ascend in Godfall, a first-of-its-kind looter-slasher melee action RPG. So this is a game I was really excited about, and reviewers kind of got scammed a little bit. They didn't get any like review codes until Monday, and embargo just went up yesterday, so people like they're still like reviews are kind of staggered right now, but they're not super great. They're basically like, it's okay. It's kind of like Killzone Shadowfall. Like it is the Killzone Shadowfall of this generation, where it's like it's definitely a next gen showcase. It's trying really hard to be that cool actiony next quote unquote next gen experience, but it's not really doing anything remarkable. And so that's kind of what it is. Not in terms of gameplay, like it's not a shooter. It's actually the opposite. It's a slasher, but you know, if you are into gear, people have been saying a lot that like the loot is really cool in this game. And so if you are into like Borderlands or other gear-based looters, I think this will be your type of game. But it is out today, and so you can go pick it up now. And so, also today for the PS5, the only PS5 exclusive game as of right now, Demon's Souls is coming out today. From PlayStation Studios and Bluepoint Games comes a remake of the PlayStation classic Demon's Souls. Entirely rebuilt from the ground up and masterfully enhanced, this remake introduces the horrors of a fog-laden, dark fantasy land to a whole new generation of gamers. Those who faced its trials and tribulations before can once again challenge the darkness and stunning visual quality with incredible performance. This is a game I'm really excited for. I love Demon's Souls. Reviews have not dropped yet, but I'm very excited to see them. I believe the embargo's up. I just don't think anyone's beaten it yet. So, but I'm excited. I love the Souls games. I can't beat them because I'm bad at games, but I love them. And so maybe Demon's Souls will be the first Souls game I beat. I don't know, but it's awesome. Have you ever played a Souls game, Trace?
I feel like I have, but I'm not 100% sure I have.
How dare you? You are not a real gamer unless you've played a Souls game. That's just common fact.
Like I said, I feel like I have, but I'm not sure if I have or not.
You would know. You would know. You would feel it in your soul. Get it? Eh? I didn't even mean to do that. That was unintentional. That was just off the cuff. You're welcome. So, also today, this is the final game that comes out today. Final notable game, I should say. It's Bugsnax, baby. Bugsnax is coming out on PS5, PS4, and PC today. I already own this game. I'm super excited. I am streaming it tonight. I'm very excited. We are what we eat. Bugsnax takes you on a whimsical adventure to Snacktooth Island, home of the legendary half-bug, half-snack creatures, Bugsnax. This is the most adorable game ever created. I am so excited. It's from the makers of Octodad Dadliest Catch, which was basically one of the cool, fun first-year games of last generation, which it's honestly kind of painful to say now. It's last, like Xbox One and PS4 are now last gen, which is it's crazy to say. But it originally came out on PC, but then it came to PlayStation 4 in April of 2014. But like, the first year of a launch, there really aren't a whole lot of games to play, and so some more like indie darlings come up, and Octodad was one of those that was really popular because there wasn't a whole lot else to play on the new systems. And so it was really fun. I really enjoyed playing Octodad. I remember in Best Buy checking out the PS4 for the first time, and I played Octodad. That was the first game I ever played on a PS4, was at the Best Buy in my hometown. Well, I shouldn't say my hometown, but close to my hometown. And so just being able to play that on the PS4, that was my first experience with it. And now to see that a lot of people's one of the first experiences on the PS5 will be Bugsnax, that's really cool. But I'm excited. I pre-ordered it just earlier today, and I am excited to play it very soon. Or I pre-ordered it yesterday, but I love Bugsnax. You should play Bugsnax, Trace. Play Bugsnax. It's so great.
You're making me want to play it.
It's adorable. Like, look it up. It's absolutely adorable. Plus, there is a song. I don't want to mispronounce as I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's called It's Bugsnax, and it's by Kiro Bonito. And it is the theme to this song, and it is an adorable song.
Fruit snacks.
They're amazing. It's amazing. I cannot wait to play this game. It's also a fairly short game. I mean, it's a cheaper game. It's only $25, but it's awesome. It's just adorable and cute, and I can't wait. And it's also supposedly only 6 hours long, but there's plenty of like Bugsnax to go discover, so you can go longer than that. But yeah, I'm gonna stream it tonight. I'm very excited. We talking about bug snacks, yo. God, I love that. I was listening to the song on repeat on my way home today. I was literally listening. It's so good. Everything about this game just makes me happy. It's just a happy game. And so, yeah, play bug snacks, guys. Play bug snacks. It's also getting reviewed really well, too. So, play bug snacks. So, out tomorrow, we finally gotten past today's games. The Sims 4 Snowy Escape is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Gear up for thrilling snow sports, relax in natural hot springs, and design your Japanese-inspired home in The Sims 4 Snowy Escape expansion pack. You having fun with bug snacks over there, Trace?
I just watched one of the little snacks get eaten.
Yeah. Like, this is about, like, becoming, like, this is literally, the entire game is based around the premise of you are what you eat. So you're a bug who eats snacks and then becomes the snack. That's why it's bug snacks.
So you eat it and you become the snack that you eat.
Yes. It's amazing, and I love it.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game, and I cannot wait to play. Actually, I forgot. I might actually, I gotta start installing that. But anyway, discover new ways to adventure, challenge your Sims to climb the peak, and bond with others in the world of Mount Komorebi. Don't know if that was pronounced right. Probably not. From sledding and snowboarding to hot pot around the kotatsu table, there's something to match every lifestyle. So this is the newest expansion for The Sims 4, which makes me upset because I'm really tired. Like, it's awesome that they're continuing to support The Sims 4, especially because it had a fairly rocky launch. And so seeing them continue to support the game and just, it's miles and miles better than it used to be. But there's some fundamental issues that I have with the game that I just really, I just don't want it. Like, I don't want I want The Sims 5. Like, I've played a ton of The Sims 4. Like, I do love it, but there are some issues I have. Like, the sheer amount of loading screens in that game drive me up a wall. And so I really just, I don't want it. I want them to be better. So, you know, it's cool that we're continuing to get all these updates, but I just would much rather, you know, not have that in my life. And so, I don't know what happened there. It was, Zoom was freaking out on me. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. But it was because I was multitasking. I was checking to see if I could install bug snacks. I can't do it quite yet. And so because of that, my laptop ceased functioning correctly for a second. But anyway, yeah. I get, yeah, cool. Sims 4, I guess, whatever. Also tomorrow, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory for PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Play as familiar faces from the Kingdom Hearts series, including Disney guest characters who will appear to lend you a hand. Enjoy a massive variety of music from both the Kingdom Hearts series and Disney, with a collection of over 140 songs. Dive into rhythm action gameplay with memorable tunes in this can't-miss musical journey. So, obviously, you all need to go out and get this game because it said in the description it is can't miss. You cannot miss it. I was about to say I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, but that's a lie. I played like the first hour of the first game, like over the summer. And then I was like, this is all right. And then I didn't really play it anymore. But, you know, got to play it. So I expect you to play it, Trace. I will play it because this is a can't miss musical journey. Honestly, it sounds like fun. Like I'm a fan of rhythm games. It's been a while since I've played a good rhythm game. I don't know if I'll necessarily check this out, but like I'm curious. People are excited about this actually, so you know. And it's the first time Kingdom Hearts is going to be on the Switch. We still haven't gotten the main games, but you know we've got a rhythm game on there now. That's cool. It's like the same spit in the face that they did when they announced Persona 5 Scramble for Switch. Like everybody was like ready for Persona 5 to come to Switch after Joker came to Smash, and then they're like, "Hey, we've got a Persona 5 announcement for Switch. Hey, it's a spin-off." Yeah. Ha. And that's pretty much what they did with Kingdom Hearts too. They were like, "Hey, we got a Kingdom Hearts announcement. It's Kingdom Hearts for Switch, but it's a rhythm game." Hey. Hey, look at you're welcome, guys. Yeah, we know you wanted this. We know you wanted exactly this.
Something like it.
You know, it's okay. It's whatever. But and then tomorrow we got the big boy. I saved the best for last, even though it technically isn't the last game coming this week. It's the last game coming tomorrow. It's Call of Duty, baby. We got Black Ops Cold War for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. All the boys except Switch. Nobody cares about Switch. Welcome to the brink. Welcome to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, the direct sequel to the original and fan favorite Call of Duty Black Ops. So I'm really excited about this game. Call of Duty's been doing well the past few. I've really liked the past few ones. I can't remember for the life of me what came before Modern Warfare, but I know I loved it. What the heck came before Modern Warfare?
Advanced.
Was it Black Ops 4? Yeah, it was Black Ops 4.
4.
Yeah. Because
There was 4 then 3 then Advanced.
Because Sledgehammer skipped this year because they got slapped on the wrist for Infinite Warfare. So they're like, nah, you don't get the. Actually, wait. Yes, yeah, because Infinity Ward. Wait a second. No, Infinity Ward made Infinite Warfare, didn't they? What did Sledgehammer make? No.
You were right the first time. You're confusing me.
Wait. Okay, so Sledgehammer, they made Advanced Warfare, and then didn't they make Infinite Warfare? Right?
I think they made both.
Yeah, I know they made both. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But it's like, what did Infinity Ward make before Modern Warfare? What was their last game? Was it? It wasn't Ghosts,
3.
was it?
It was 3.
No. The last game that Sledgehammer made was World War II, wasn't it? Didn't they make World War II? I'm looking it up. Yeah. I'm looking it up. Yeah. So Sledgehammer made World War II.
Oh,
And honestly,
okay.
I liked World War II, but I guess
World War II was amazing. I still have it.
yeah. But I guess it wasn't good enough because Activision was like, you don't get Call of Duty this year. We're giving it back to Treyarch. But anyway, but yeah, the campaign's being made by Raven Software, and so that's really cool. They're getting back into the COD franchise. It's been a while for them, and so I'm really excited for Cold War. I'm pissed that the zombies mode isn't coming to other platforms other than PlayStation for a whole nother freaking year. It was bullshit when they did that with Modern Warfare, and it's bullshit this year because I want to play it on PC. I want that 144 hertz, but now I don't know. I will still probably pick it up on PC if I get it, but it's gonna piss me off about that zombies mode because I was actually really excited about that zombies mode, and then they're like, yeah, it's gonna be on PlayStation for a year. Like,
I mean, you could always get it on your PS4 and then.
I don't want to. I want it on the PC. I want the frames. Frames win games, man. Jesus. Now,
So get it right.
to be fair, it does run at 120 on PS5. They have it running 120 frames per second. However, I don't have a 120 hertz TV. Like, I can't spend $1,000 on a new TV right now. I can't even spend the $500 on a PlayStation 5. And so it's like, this isn't Activision. I mean, it's partly Activision's fault for accepting the deal, but I know this is Sony's fault because Sony just wants exclusive everything, and it's just makes me mad.
Sony wants to one-up Xbox. That's all it is. It's.
And then
just a back and
Xbox
forth
was just
game.
like Bethesda.
Right.
But yeah, this console war stuff just drives me nuts. But it's whatever. So then on Tuesday, we're getting Halo 4 on PC. Finally, witness the Master Chief's triumphant return to battle an ancient evil bent on vengeance and annihilation, shipwrecked on a mysterious world, faced with new enemies and deadly technology. The universe will never be the same.
What was the Halo that came out on the 360?
A lot.
I think it was like the second or third one.
I'm trying to remember if 2 came to the 360. I don't think so. That was 2000. Yeah, that was 2004. So it was 3 and 4. 3 and 4 came out on the 360.
Which one was?
And Reach.
I can't remember. I remember playing 1, and I remember grinding it with like just me and my buddy going like a 1v1.
I know a lot of people really loved Reach. I think Reach is like the 360 game. I know a lot of people loved Halo 3, but I think when people talk about like the definitive Halo of the 360 generation, a lot of people really loved Reach. Halo 4 was kind of they liked the campaign, but the multiplayer of Halo 4 people were disappointed with. And this was also the first Halo to be released by 343 Industries, so this was not made by Bungie. Reach was their last game, so this was the first one developed by a new studio. Although,
yeah, it was Reach.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, Reach was the most popular one. But Yeah, Halo 4, the campaign is pretty well regarded. It's not regarded as the best Halo, but it definitely was received pretty well overall. But yeah, so this means that now all of the Master Chief Collection will be available on PC on Tuesday. They've all finally been brought over because Halo 1 and 2 were on PC back in the day, but 3, 4 and Reach were never brought to PC. So now they've all finally been brought over, and so you can play all the Halo games on PC minus Halo 5. And we don't know if we're gonna get Halo 5 on PC. I would imagine, but they have.
Say eventually you might.
Well, 343 came out and said that they weren't going to add Halo 5 to the Master Chief Collection. So they basically, it was because people were asking, and like it kind of makes sense, because people were probably thinking in terms of PC. But if Halo 5 were to come to the Master Chief Collection, then that's just 343 losing out on some money. And so because then they would spend I don't know how much it's worth. If it's is it a $20 game? I feel like it's a $20 game now. It's been 5 years, but that's them losing out on $20 just including it in the Master Chief Collection. But I feel like they'll bring Halo 5 to PC. Just make it a $40 game. I don't know if they'll charge 60 or not, but yeah, get some new, because I know they've already made some enhancements for Halo 5 on the Series S and X, so they've done some stuff with Halo 5. So they're probably working on some sort of PC port of the game since all the others are now on PC. But yeah, Halo 4 is on PC. It's complete in the Master Chief Collection, all that fun stuff. And so that's the games coming out this week. There are quite a lot. We spent over half this episode talking about it, but yeah. So happy PS5 launch, everybody. So let's get into the gaming news. There's a lot of really cool stuff this week that I wanted to talk about. And so first off, Mass Effect 5 is coming. They've officially announced that a new Mass Effect project is in development at BioWare with a veteran team. And so I've heard some discussions about this. So I'll give you guys a little timeline. So Casey Hudson, he is currently the head of BioWare, and he was the creative developer. He was the project lead on the Mass Effect trilogy. Then he left to go work at Microsoft for the HoloLens until right after Mass Effect Andromeda launched. So he was not involved with Mass Effect Andromeda. Then Andromeda comes out, it bombs. What happens? He comes back and leads BioWare. So he is now the CEO of BioWare. Wonder why? It's almost like, hey, he saw that the new Mass Effect was not up to expectations. So maybe he comes back and says, hey, that was garbage. It's my turn. And so when he said, like they say that they're working on a new Mass Effect with a veteran team, you gotta assume that good old Casey's involved. And that makes me so happy because I actually enjoyed Andromeda. I think it's a very underrated game, but it definitely was not up to the Mass Effect standard. And so I'm really, really, really excited to hear that this new Mass Effect project is coming, and we have Casey Hudson back. My guess is the Anthem team is working on it because while there is a team working on Anthem right now trying to redo it, that it got moved to the Austin team, and so that's kind of like their lower team. They're working on it. It's just a few people, honestly, just working on trying to fix Anthem, which it might be too late for that. But the main development team in someplace up in Canada. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Brighthampton, but I don't know if that's right. But the main team is now, they're working on Dragon Age. That's currently what they're working on. Well, actually, that's not true because they do have two teams there. One that's working on Dragon Age and another that was working on Anthem but is now free. And so I believe it's that team working on Mass Effect. However, before people get nervous that, they made Anthem. One, I think a lot of the problems with Anthem was corporate pressure. I think EA was like, make a Destiny game, and then they were like, and so that was one thing. Two, I think that they specifically brought back people like Casey Hudson to add to this team. So while I say it's the Anthem team, I don't think it's 100% the Anthem team. I think they kind of like swap some people over and or just like reorganize the team to where it's like it's the core of it is the Anthem team, but they've brought back some talent. They've got some new talent, that sort of stuff, and that's where we get the veteran team from. And so I don't think there's anything to worry about here. I'm excited. This isn't going to come out for a long time. I think Dragon Age is a game that's going to come out next year. I don't think we're too far away from Dragon Age. 2022 at the latest. But we're getting a Mass Effect game. It's not going to be super soon, but we're getting a new Mass Effect, and that just makes me happy because I will never let that franchise die. And so, yeah, get new Mass Effect. And also on Mass Effect news, the reason we're getting this is because N7 Day was on Saturday, so hell yeah. But Mass Effect Legendary Edition has finally been announced for spring of 2021. So this is a complete remaster of the Mass Effect trilogy. It's got 1, 2, and 3. It's supposedly, there's been rumors that they're doing a lot to change up the first, but they didn't talk much about that when they announced it. And so they said... Hold on, let me see if I have the quote here. Because they did some interesting wording about what it would say. So Casey Hudson, who I just talked about, the studio general manager, I should say, of BioWare, and vice president. So he's not the CEO of BioWare. I apologize. But he said that the team at BioWare's goal was not to remake or reimagine the original games, but to modernize the experience so that fans and new players can experience the original work in its best possible form. So a lot of people have been kind of worried by that statement because Mass Effect 1, it's a hard game to play in 2020. It is difficult. It does not. There's some gameplay issues. Like, the story is great. It's not a bad game. It's still a great game. It's just mechanically very outdated. And so when the rumors came out that they were really trying to revamp the first one specifically, and that is why it was supposedly delayed, it's like when he says stuff like this, people were like, oh, does that mean that there aren't going to be significant changes? Is that like damage control? I don't know. He words it very weird. I don't think that it's just going to be, 4K texture packs because, one, people have already done that. There are mods out there. You can get on PC. I mean, true, you can't get it on PS4 and Xbox One, but, they've basically already touched up the game sometimes graphically. So I'm really hoping they make some significant changes to the first one at least. The second and third, you don't got to touch those. Those are great. Just make them prettier. But the first one, it was described, I think, I was listening to the Unlocked podcast from IGN, and they were talking about this, and they said that the Mass Effect 1 was kind of like a turning point for BioWare, where KOTOR, Star Wars Knight of the Old Republic, was this basically turn-based combat game where, you had to queue up attacks and stuff like that, and then Mass Effect 2 was basically a third-person shooter. And so that was real time. And so Mass Effect 1 is kind of like in the middle, where it's not turn-based, but it's not quite real time. Like, it's somewhere in between. And so because of that, it gets a little murky. But it's still a great game, and I hope they do some stuff to clean it up a little bit because it is a really, really awesome game. And I love this trilogy, and I will for sure be playing this in the spring. I'm very, very excited. And Trace, you're going to be playing this in the spring too because it brings me so much sadness that you have not played the Mass Effect trilogy. So you're going to be playing the Legendary Edition. You have no reason not to. I will literally buy it for you.
Wait, really?
That's a promise. That is a promise. I will buy you the Mass Effect Legendary Edition because you need to play. Honestly, I love the whole trilogy, but Mass Effect 2 especially. 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love 1 and 3 as well, but 2 has a special place in my heart, so I will buy you this game. But yeah.
What are you gonna buy it on?
Well, you play on PC, right?
Yeah, but
it's whatever you want. So whatever you got at the time, I got you.
I'm gonna have to upgrade the PC, and I don't know when I'm getting the new one.
Well, like I said, it's whatever you want. So
right.
We'll talk about it later. But I don't care. It doesn't matter. I will get it for you. And so.
I mean, a game's a game.
Well, technically, you're getting 3, so you're welcome. But anyway. On to more sad news. The Medium has been delayed. Not too long after they announced the December release date, they delayed it to January 28th. Due to, hold on, let me try to pull up the actual full quote here because it's kind of funny. I'll read the statement. Sorry, it's loading. After much careful thought and consideration, today we have made the difficult decision to delay the launch of the medium to January 28th, 2021. It wasn't an easy choice to make, but one made due to the COVID-19 situation in Poland, as well as the current schedule of other games on the market. Now, they say some other stuff, but this is the only thing that's important, and it's really that last part. As well as the current schedule of other games on the market. Now, if you're really putting on your thinking caps here, the medium was supposed to come out on December 10th. What other game recently got delayed to December 10th? I think it might have been Cyberpunk.
I was just going to say that.
Cyberpunk. So this is not even the first game to get delayed. There were like 4 games that were supposed to come out on December 10th. All of them have moved. They don't want to compete with Cyberpunk. What?
Did Cyberpunk move too?
No, they're moving because of Cyberpunk. Like, they don't want to compete, so all of them have delayed. Like, I'm sure that, COVID has they've impacted all games, but they were going to be ready for December 10th. Like, maybe it would have some bugs, but, like, they're like, the second they heard that Cyberpunk was coming out on the same day as them, they're like, no,
we got to move it.
Get it out. And so, yeah, it's coming out in January now. This is like the 3rd or 4th game to be delayed because of Cyberpunk. Like, there's been expansions of games delayed. Like, anything coming out on the 10th has now delayed, except because Cyberpunk has come in. And so, yeah, they don't want to compete whatsoever because they know they're not going to. And so, yeah, Medium's been kicked out because of Cyberpunk.
Said, nope, not this year.
Yeah. And so... Also, Godfall has now been confirmed to be a 6-month PS5 console exclusive. All of the Sony fanboys were screaming that, haha, we got Godfall, you did it, we have exclusives. Well, that's now a lie. And so, in the PS5 launch trailer, there's a small piece of text at the end that says, also available on PC, not available on other consoles until at least May 12th, 2021. Meaning... Sony signed an exclusivity deal. So this is coming to Xbox. It might be on May 12th or 13th. I don't know whether that means, they can do it on 12th or 13th. However, I would assume that this is when the Xbox version would come out. The reason they say at least would be in terms of like delays. Like if the port gets delayed, there's some issues with it or something. But we're going to see Godfall on Xbox. That's going to happen. Might also see this come out on Steam at the same time because they have an exclusivity deal with Epic Games, so maybe we'll see a Steam release at the same time, but I don't know about that. But yeah, Godfall's not a PS5 exclusive, and so just gonna throw that out there to all the Sony fanboys. I definitely prefer Xbox over PlayStation, but I'll give PS5 a lot of credit where it's due, but I'll also give Xbox that same credit. And so it's not a PS5 exclusive. All you pony boys need to calm down. So there you go. But another big thing. So I mentioned this earlier, but PS5 won't support SSD expandable storage at launch. And so the quote was that it is being reserved for a future update. Now, it is very clear what this is about. PlayStation does not have a way to sell. They do not have their own external SSDs to sell to us. Therefore, they're not going to let us go out and buy an SSD of our own and use it, because then they would not be making money. And so they said,
they're going to lose a lot of money from that.
Yeah, so they're not doing that. They've disabled it. There's literally a slot on the back of the PS5 for an SSD, but you can't use it because it's been disabled. Like, there is no reason for this. It is literally Sony being money hungry. It is ridiculous. And the fact that there's only a little over 600 gigabytes of usable space at launch is even more of a slap in the face. Like, it sucks. This is a stupid move by Sony, and honestly, if we were not in a pandemic this year, probably wouldn't have happened. I feel like COVID has probably impacted their production of these SSDs that they're probably working on. I would be shocked if they weren't. But yeah, this is dumb. This is really stupid of PlayStation. And so the CEO of PlayStation has also said He's warned against purchasing an M.2 SSD, which is the SSD used in the PS5, until Sony gives official word on which SSDs will be fully supported and optimized on PS5 to give you the best performance. But it's important to note that PS5 will support USB external storage at launch, and this will be a good way to play PS4 games. However, it won't give you that faster speed of the SSD. So for instance, I have a 2 terabyte USB external storage for my Xbox, which I'm sure would work on the PS5. However, it's not going to have the fast loading times because it is a hard drive, not a solid state drive. And so if you are really desperate for some more storage, you can go that route. It's just not going to be good. And so if you're desperate, there you go. But this is just a stupid, like, it's just stupid. But yeah, that's the thing. So PlayStation can't get more storage, more good storage anyway, because they don't have their shit together. And so that is the reason. That's it. And so now let's get talking about Xbox. We've talked a lot about PlayStation this week already, but now we're going to dig deep into Xbox. It's been out on the market for a couple days now. We've got the reviews that have been out for a little while. Neither Trace nor I own a Series X or S, mostly because there's no reason to right now. But I know a lot about the Xbox. I've heard a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of research, a lot of different things, and so I'm here to talk to you all about the new Xbox. Is it worth your money? Is it worth your time? All that fun stuff. Trace, what are your thoughts? I see you shaking your head.
I don't know. I've heard stories about both the Xbox and the PlayStation. Like I've heard when they were like in testing or whatever, they were like catching on fire and stuff. And I've just heard nothing but bad things about them. So I'm just not a big fan. Like I'll put off until they're a year or two old to see what happens.
Yeah. So that's important. That's a good thing to talk about. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about first, was like the hardware specifics of the Xbox. But I'm really just going to address specifically what you're saying, because these are not things that have been uncommon. Like this has been going around a lot. Heating has been a huge talk because the PS4 sounds like a jet engine and the Xbox runs hotter than a volcano. And so those are things to talk about because people don't want to have that issue with next gen. So both the Xbox and PS5 do not run hot. There have been why am I thinking? I'm trying to think of the right word. There have been, it's not thermic, but they have done tests to see how hot both consoles run, and they are not hot. Neither of them. They both run very well, and there's a lot of cooling. Literally half of the PlayStation 5 is a fan. Like they made sure to make sure that this thing does not run hot. So it's not. However, in terms of loudness, I have heard, I don't know a lot, like I said, that's why we're going to save the discussion until next week, but I have heard some talk that the PS5 is pretty loud, but the series...
That wouldn't surprise me. I feel like that's a Sony thing. Like, all their consoles have always...
They have jet engines, yeah. But the thing is that they said that they were going to make it a thing that the PS5 was going to be quiet. And so that's why I'm like, I don't want to go... like to say that that's 100% what is going on, but I've heard some things saying that it actually is pretty loud. The Xbox, on the other hand, it's quiet. It's a quiet boy. Like, I have seen people have said that when they go back to their One X or their original Xbox One, it is so loud compared to the Series X or the Series S. I mean, these things are quiet. These things are cool. There's nothing to worry about on that front. There was a false claim by some people that the Series X's were smoking. That's not true. Someone vaped on an Xbox and said that it was smoke. That's 100% a thing. Like, literally, Xbox had to tweet out, please do not vape on the Xbox. Like, that was a thing that happened just earlier. But
Wait,
yeah.
How did they know that it was vape that they did that with?
They tracked it down, and because basically the big thing was that Microsoft was like, that's not possible.
Right.
Like, they're like, and so they started doing some digging, and they found out that the person was just vaping on it and passing it off as this is smoke. Like, it was out of context,
Right.
like that sort of thing. But yeah, people are vaping on Xboxes. But one of the cool things is that they discovered that the vent on top of the Series X, it levitates a
Oh, a ping
ping
pong
pong ball
Yeah,
into
I
the air.
saw that.
And that is going to be I'm going to have a ping pong ball on my, like, when I finally get a Series X, because I will, like, that'll happen, just not immediately. I'm going to also buy a set of ping pong balls, and I'm going to have a ping pong ball for my Xbox. That's 100% going to
Right.
happen. And so, but yeah, talking about the design, I remember when this came out, when they first announced the design of the Series X, I was super pumped because it looked like a really cool, like the vent just looked that was my big thing, and that's still the biggest thing for me, is that vent, of just, it looked like a powerful PC box, that's this cool thing. Now I'm pretty, like, it's okay. Like, it is a little bland. I think the PS5 kind of spoiled me because I like the design of the PS5 a lot better. But yeah, in terms of, like, design wise, I mean, but it's not lying to you. It's a box. It is the Xbox, and so and the same with the Series S, which I'm gonna, most of this talk is gonna be focused on the Series X, but we will get into the Series S in a little bit. But as far as the Series X, it's a big beefcake box boy, and in terms of hardware, they've got some pretty beefy stuff. This is the number one console, the number one most powerful console out there. So there haven't been a ton of performance settings that have been out for Series X games, but every game that I've heard of has confidently hit 4K 60. Whereas there have been multiple PS5 games that either do 4K 30 or 4K 60, or not, no. They either do 4K 60 or 4K 30 with ray tracing and all of the cool stuff. Xbox is just like, nah, 4K 60. And occasionally 4K 120. And so, now, granted, there are some PS5 games that are supposed to run 4K 120 as well, but that's the thing, is, like, Xbox is the clear winner when it comes to power. This thing is a beefcake, and it's got a lot of big stuff in there. It is definitely worth the $500. Like, the value you get for this console is insane. The one big thing that, again, we're going to talk about in a little bit is games, because there's not a lot of games on it right now. There's very little games on it right now. However, the value of Game Pass, that's all you really need. I think for people that have an original Xbox One, like my friend Ben, who bought a Series X and has it now, like, I've seen him with the Series X, it's a big deal. Like, upgrading from a 7-year-old console that was not very good anyway, like, the original Xbox sucked, but it's a huge step, and I think it's a really big deal, and it's really, really cool. But there's definitely, like, upgrading from the One X. That's why I'm not running to go get a Series X right now, because I have a One X. It's not a huge deal for me, but it is a big deal for a lot of people, and I think there's plenty of reason to get the Series X. Just not necessarily everybody should. And so I saw some squinting your way, Trace. What do you got to say?
Like I said, I don't feel like you would need to spend that much money on a console. Like, when
How much do you spend on your PC?
My PC?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Because
I got ripped off with my PC.
I know, but people talk about prices a lot. PCs are so freaking expensive. There is one thing people tend to forget about is TVs. TVs are typically more expensive than monitors.
Yeah.
When you get into the specifics, like, if you're a real PC gamer, you're also spending a pretty penny on monitors. And so you can kind of make up the difference when it comes to that. But again, if you're really looking for performance and you're really looking to get the stuff, you're also spending a lot on monitors. And so
you're spending a crap ton on monitors.
It's a big deal. Like, PCs are so much more expensive than consoles. Like, when the One X was announced at $500 and people were like, that is so expensive. Like, no, it's not. Like,
look at a PC.
If you look at a PC with the same specs, it is thousands of dollars, but
Right.
You're paying $500. And it's the exact same thing for both the PS5 and the Series X. And so it's just, you're young and do not make a lot of money. I still don't make a lot of money. I mean, I do in the summers, but that's not all the time. And so that's why And then COVID was just like, hey, you don't get money anymore. So, it's been a great year.
You don't get a job.
No, I have a job. I just work very, very little because no one goes out anymore, and I work as a freaking tour guide. So, it's great. But
See, I don't have a job because of COVID. Like, I can't get one.
yeah, but and so next up with the Xbox is basically a lot of stuff that they didn't change, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And so first off, we've got the interface. The interface is definitely familiar if you have the Xbox One, because they didn't change it. It's pretty much the exact same. They made some minor tweaks. Any game that is series enhanced has a logo, and that is actually something that they just recently added. They didn't have it right when it came out. Well, technically they did, but it wasn't. The people who reviewed the console who got it early did not have it. But there is a logo that appears on your game, so you know which ones are enhanced, which I think is a nice touch. But the interface is the exact same. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it makes the Switch seamless. It does kind of take away from the whole, I've got this new box feel, because it's like you see it and it doesn't look new. It's something you already know. But it also means that you don't have to learn anything. You can just jump into your games and have fun, and you know that it's a solid system. And because from where the interface is now is vastly different from what the interface was in 2013. It looked completely different because they have continuously updated it. Whereas the PS4, there have been some minor changes to the UI, but it's remained largely the same, which is why they have such a big jump to the PS5 UI. And so, there's not a whole lot of changes to the interface, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so there's been a big debate. And so, Trace, I know you had a PS4, so you might be a little biased here, but PS4 or Xbox interface?
I don't know. Like, I'm not one to pick a certain console because I know, like, there's a lot of people that'll sit out there and argue hours on end, and I'm not the type of person that wants to sit out there and listen to hear someone argue.
I mean, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, so is there a difference between the Xboxes? Because when I was looking up the Xbox Series X, they had like one that looked bigger and one that looked smaller.
My God. Okay.
Sorry,
So, there are two Xboxes. There's the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. And like I said, we've mostly been talking about the Series X, but the Series S is another Xbox that is $300.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was figuring that out.
Yeah, there is a second Xbox out there. All right, Trace Griffiths, games expert.
Woohoo.
Everybody, there you go. But yeah. So personally, I've always been an Xbox fan in terms of the UI. I think it's a lot simpler. I know there's some people that say that the Xbox UI sucks. To be fair, in 2013 it did. I think where it is now, it's really great. But there are some people that literally would die for the PS4 UI, and they really love the PS5 UI. And I think the PS5 UI looks interesting, and I'm excited to check it out. But like, I hated the PS4 UI. It was so convoluted and stupid and hard to get around. Like, it was so easy for me to get wherever I wanted for Xbox and PlayStation. It was just like you had to launch an app to get into any media apps. You had to get to an app to go to an app, and that was dumb. That's dumb. Like, I hate that. That is so stupid. And there's just there's some other things that really just bug me about the PS4 UI. But I know some people that die for it. So, if that's the hill you want to die on, go ahead, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's basically what they did with the controller as well. They have a create button now. They've added an extra button. And, they've made a very, very slight design change. But otherwise, the Xbox controller is pretty much the same. And it's backwards compatible with all the other controllers. So you can use your Xbox One controller. You can use your Xbox Elite controller or Elite Series 2 controller, which I mean, when I get an Xbox, I'll probably try out the original controller that new controller because I want to see how it works. But I'll probably be using my Elite Series 2 because it's the better controller. I mean, it's just, exactly. And so, I kind of wish this was something I've said for a while, but I wish there was a bundle of an Xbox Series X with an Elite Series 2 controller that gave it would have been really awesome if they had a bundle that gave you 2 terabytes of SSD space and the Elite Series 2 controller, and then make it $600. Because one, that's a really good deal for the Elite Series 2 controller, and then you get an extra terabyte of space. Now, to be fair, I don't know that they would have really profited off of that, because that's probably like $200 for the SSD, and then like $150 at least for the Elite controller. So, to be fair, it probably would have been like $700 for that. But no one would buy that if it was $700. So it's like, I would have paid $600 for that. That'd be an amazing deal. And so I totally would have spent $600 on that. But they didn't. And like I said, it's probably because of, no one would spend more than $600 on that, and they would be losing quite a bit of money probably if they made it $600. But I would have enjoyed to see that. But yeah. But they didn't really do much changes, and it does take away from that new feeling, like I said, but it's just sort of how things work. And so, next up, and this is something I think maybe you'll have some insight into, because I know that it's something that you got into PC gaming for, because you talked to me about it, Trace. But 60 FPS versus 120. I briefly talked about this, that some games are hitting 120. Right now, I know the big 120 FPS games on Xbox are Gears 5 and the Falconeer, and they have both run really, really well. They run silky smooth, and I think Phil Spencer said a long time ago that the Series X was really going to focus on frame rates. It wanted things to be smooth. It didn't it is this big beefy powerhouse, but the number one thing is that they wanted whatever it was going to run at, they wanted it to be smooth. And any game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they were talking about it running 4K 30 FPS on the Series X a long time ago. It runs at a rock solid 4K 60. No stuttering, nothing like that. And so these games are hitting 4K 60 easily, and some of them are even doing 4K 120, and that's nuts. The fact that this console can do that is nuts, and it's something that the PS5 can't necessarily do, and that's the big selling point of the Series X. And once they start getting some big exclusives onto there, I'm really excited now to see Halo Infinite take full advantage of the Series X, because I think there's going to be some really cool things with that, because Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a beautiful game that is cross-gen. And so I know a lot of people say, well, Halo Infinite's going to be on Xbox One, but it can still be a very beautiful game, and I'm really excited to see how they take advantage of the Series X hardware. But yeah, so again, Trace, I know you talk about your frames. You got to have Fortnite as high as possible, all that stuff.
I don't like Fortnite no more.
Wow, you actually grew up? I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Look at you go. All right.
Goodness.
So what are your thoughts on the frames versus PS5, or just 60 versus 120? What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, there's some games that I have on my PC, or my PS4, when I play Rainbow Six Siege or Modern Warfare. When I play those games, and then compared to when I watch somebody do a stream, it's more clear on a stream than it is on my PC, and or my PS4, and it's just I want higher frames so it runs smoother and easier to play, and
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, with my new setup, I have a 144 hertz monitor, and so playing Overwatch at 144 hertz, it's so silky smooth. And going back, it's it is a noticeable difference. It's one of those things you don't necessarily notice right at first. I think the jump from 30 to 60 is much more noticeable than 60 to 120 or even higher. But it's one of those things you notice when you go back. And so like I will notice a game feel choppier at 60 now. Like now that I've experienced 144, when I play a game at 60 FPS, I'll be like, this isn't quite as good. Like it's definitely fine. Like I'm not a huge frame rate guy. Like as long as I have a solid 30 at least, I don't really care. But I am starting to notice it. And so then again, I should say though, multiplayer games you can't do 30. Like that's just a given, like
You can running 60 on a multiplayer game is kind of hard.
I don't care about that. 60, I think it's okay to do 60, but 30 is just nah, that's out. And Doom, you can't. Well, I don't know, cause like I played Doom on the Switch and that ran at 30, and you got to get used to it, but definitely would not prefer it. But shooters are really that's where you need the frames. But I mean, again, like I would prefer more, but even at 60, I'm like, I think it's okay. It's not necessarily preferred, but I would never want to play a shooter at 30 FPS if I could avoid it. And so, like I said, the Switch is kind of a special case because I love being able to take Doom on the go. And so that's cool and all, but like otherwise, yeah, I don't want to do 30 if I don't have to. But, like I said, this is a really cool thing. But, however, a lot of people don't have a 120 hertz TV. Like, they can't do the 120 FPS. And that's something that a lot of people need to understand. And to get a good 120 hertz TV, the absolute cheapest one is, like, over $500. And that one, like, if you are really, like, looking for a good TV, that one's not going to cut it. If you're looking for a good 120 hertz TV, you're going to be spending over $1,000. And so that's twice the console. And so it's like, it's kind of rough, but that's just kind of what you got to do nowadays. And so to get a 4K 120 hertz TV, it's a pretty penny. And a lot of people aren't going to have that. But it's kind of future-proof. I think this will be a standard in a few years. It's just right now. And that's why it's like getting a console at launch is not a huge deal. And so it's not something you necessarily need to jump on. But now getting in, this is the thing that everybody loves. It's that glorious SSD. We were talking about expandable storage, but the SSD on the Series X is really, really, really good. I'll say it now. The SSD on the PS5 is better. Like, we'll talk about that more next week, but the PS5 has an absolutely glorious SSD. But the Series X has a wonderful SSD as well. And one of the big things they do with it is quick resume. And that is something that is only on the Series X, where you could be playing 3 games at once. You could be playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and then all of a sudden you want to go play some Forza. You just go home, go to Forza, start that up, and then you do a race, and it loads in under a minute. And then you say, well, I want to go back to Red Dead. You go back home, go to Red Dead. Within 10 seconds, you're riding your horse in Red Dead. And then, I want to check out, there's a new Destiny raid. I'm going to go do that. It loads in 30 seconds. You do that. And then, I want to go check out my Forza race. I want to do another Forza race. 5 seconds, you're playing Forza again. Quick resume is absolutely glorious. I don't know how much I'll specifically use it because I kind of set on like one game, that sort of thing. But like I said, SSDs are lightning fast. I'll get into some of the specifics here that I don't have memorized because I'm not it's not what I do. But I'll get into the specifics. So Red Dead Redemption 2 takes 2 minutes and 43 seconds to go from dashboard to playing on the Xbox One X. On the Series X, it takes 1 minute and 5 seconds. So that is over twice as fast as the One X. Halo 5 improves from 1 minute and 7 seconds to 25 seconds. Control went from 2 minutes and 24 seconds to 1 minute and 3 seconds. And State of Decay 2 took 30 seconds on the Series X versus 1 minute and 6 seconds on the One X.
I'm not gonna lie, I would love to see what GTA did on that, because GTA always
Facts.
sits at 90 and loads forever.
Facts. GTA takes forever. However, Red Dead is another one that takes forever. And like I said, it cut in half, so I would assume that GTA would also be cut in half as well.
Right.
And so, but yeah, it is over twice as fast and that's a big deal. And so, and like I said, the PS5, I've seen stuff load on that in less than 10 seconds. It is absolutely nuts. But like I saw someone compare Spider-Man on PS4 versus Spider-Man remastered on PS5, in the time it took the game from the home screen, in the time it took for Spider-Man PS4 to get to the Insomniac logo, you were already swinging on PS5. You were already playing and swinging. It blew my mind. But yeah, the Series X is also super, super fast, and the SSD is going to be a huge deal, and it's something that really only the nerds are talking about, but it's definitely going to be something people notice as they get their Series X's and Series S's and really get into that, because it is a huge deal, and it's going to be a game changer for a lot of people that, it's like basically a quality of life improvement in a video game. It's just going to make everything so much nicer. And so, yeah. But like I said, everything we've talked about has been kind of focused on the Series X. But I do want to also talk about the Series S, because that is another console coming out that has been out. And the big thing I want to talk about, if I had to pick whether to get a Series X or Series S, it's the X all the way. It is an extra $200. I think the Series S is an incredible value, but there's definitely drawbacks for that $200 decrease. And so first off, it is limited to 1440p, so it is not a 4K console. It is 1440p, but it still does the 60 FPS, the 120 FPS, that sort of stuff. I've heard some things that quality wise it's still rock solid 60 or 120, like the frames are there, but fidelity wise, like it does upscale to 4K much like the Xbox One S does, but it honestly doesn't look that great. And so they would I've heard people recommend that if you get the Series S, get your hands on a 1440p monitor versus a 4K TV, because it honestly looks better running at native 1440 versus upscaled to 4K, because it's just it starts to look grainy when you upscale it. And so they're saying to do that. But yes, it's 1440p, it runs smooth, it does everything the Series X does, just at a lower resolution. However, there's only 500 gigabyte SSD in there. And so, again, half of that is Call of Duty. So it's one of those things where if you have a PS5 and you want to dip into the amazing value that is Game Pass, this is an awesome console for you. It's an awesome second console. But if you're going into this being I really want the next gen experience, the Series S is kind of like it's something to give the kids. It's something, again, a second console if you want to check out Xbox exclusives or if you want a Game Pass machine, but it is not a main console. It is definitely not, if you are a big gaming fan, the Series S is definitely not for you. But it is good. It is not bad by any means. It's just definitely not the big heavy hitter. Yeah. And so, and I'm really hoping that they will come out with a Series S with a terabyte. Of course you can do the expandable storage, but that's $200. That's literally almost the cost of a Series X if you want to get an expandable SSD. And so it's almost it's like $220 for their terabyte SSD. And so, which is worth that, you're getting your money's worth on there. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just get a Series X. And so,
right, but then you're not having the full terabyte. You're just having whatever.
Like I said, it's 800 and some,
Right.
but it's still a lot more than the Series S. And then, like I said, you're getting the 4K, you're getting that extra storage, you're getting all that stuff, you're future proofing. And so if you are worried about space and you were thinking about getting that expandable SSD with the Series S, it makes so much more sense just to get the Series X. Because
Right.
you're probably not going to be filling up your terabyte, your 800 some gigabytes of storage right away, unless you're really, really big on it. And so it makes more sense to do that. But
Right.
yeah, the Series S, that's there. It's something, but definitely not for the hardcore gamers. But it is a really cool option, and I don't think Microsoft is making a mistake by making this. I think it's a cool thing. It's just, if you are a big gamer, so if you're listening to this, then it probably isn't right for you. It's more so for the moms going out Black Friday shopping and seeing this for their kids, that sort of thing. but it's a good idea, and I think it will sell well. And so then finally getting to the games, and that's been the big thing. I mean, again, console launches have never been great in terms of launch games. There haven't necessarily been a lot, but Xbox doesn't have anything. Gears Tactics is their big launch game, and it's been out on PC since April. I mean, Halo was obviously going to be their big game. That was going to be the one that they were going to show off. It's on the box, and so like they were gonna put all their money on Halo. Then it got delayed, and they don't have anything now. And so I would say the big game to play on the Series X.
Cyberpunk, maybe?
Well, that's not out. That's not out till December 10th.
No, what I'm saying is when it comes out, it's going to be one of the bigger games.
Well, yeah, but you could say the exact same thing about Halo.
True.
When it comes out. Like, right here at launch, right now, the big games you could play, 2K21 is probably the best-looking game on the Xbox right now. I'm not saying it's the best game on the Xbox, but it is the best looking. It is super realistic. Everyone's really, really loving the graphical quality of the next-gen versions of 2K. But if you're looking for the big next-gen game, it's Valhalla. That's your big next-gen game. It's very buggy, but that is pretty much all we've got for the Xbox. I mean, like I said, there are some cool games in there. The Falconeer is a very interesting dogfighting game. I'm trying to think of some more games that are all blanking me. Yakuza Like a Dragon is a really cool JRPG if you're into that. But it's like, it's mostly you got Game Pass, and you can play a lot of cool games, but there's not a whole lot new. And so that's just one of those things that you just kind of got to do your best. And, you know, yet another reason why launch consoles, not that worth it. But that has been the talk about the new Xbox. And like I said, we're going to do the exact same thing with PlayStation next week. And so excited to talk all about that. But before we get out of here, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing this week. And I've been playing some more Watch Dogs Legion. I've been really enjoying it. It's definitely buggy. I've personally encountered more bugs with Watch Dogs Legion than I have with Valhalla, which I'm also going to talk about. But I know people talk about that Valhalla is a bug fest, but you know, Watch Dogs Legion is a buggy game, and I've stepped away from it because other more notable releases have come out, and so I've been playing some different stuff. But I do want to go back and finish it at some point, and I'm hoping by then it gets fixed because I've had 2 hard crashes in the like 7.5 hours I've played, I think, and I've had plenty of various bugs, and so I'm hoping that they can kind of patch things out because it definitely needs some work. But it is very fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. I don't think it's necessarily game of the year, but it is definitely a really enjoyable game, and so I'm having fun with it. And then I played a lot of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, and it just might be my favorite game this year. Like, I love it so much. I know it's a remaster, so it's kind of hard to count, but I really love this game. It's really, really fun. And so if you haven't played Hot Pursuit at all, 100% go play it. You know, if you played the original and really loved it, I mean, the remaster's faithful. And so it's a really, really fun game. I beat it, and so I'm done with it. And it was a really fantastic time. I think the end went on just a bit too long for me. Like, I think, like, in terms of the career mode, like, I think it had just a little bit too much in there. I think they could have added some more gameplay mechanics to keep the end fresh a little bit. It started to get a little bit repetitive, but compared to other games, it did a really good job of that. But it was really, really fun, and I really enjoyed my time. So if you're into racing games, if you're looking for a fun new racing game, Dirt 5's been getting kind of mediocre reviews, and so I would really look into Hot Pursuit Remastered. It is so much fun, and it's just a great nostalgia trip to 2010. It's great. And then I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I played the first 5 hours. I freaking love that game. It's basically God of War meets Ghost of Tsushima, and I love it. I love it a lot. Like I said, I haven't really encountered that much. Like I haven't really encountered any bugs thus far, so I'm happy about it. I know on the Xbox it's pretty buggy. Haven't heard too much about the PC version, but usually the PC version's the worst in most cases because of the unpredictability of PC specs. But I haven't really encountered many issues. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'm really excited to check it out more. Like I said, I'm playing Bug Snacks tonight, and probably tomorrow I'm hoping to play a bunch more Valhalla because really today and tomorrow I'm planning on just blasting through Bug Snacks, and then I'm hoping tomorrow night I can play some more Valhalla. But then I also want to check out the Pathless, and so and then with COD and everything, I don't know, but I really like Valhalla a lot, and so I think you won't be disappointed if you were excited about this game, and I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, if you were interested in it, I think it's a really cool game. And so, Trace, what have you been playing this week? Buddy? All right, so Trace dropped out again, but I will say he's been playing more Skater XL and Among Us, and so nothing too different from the ordinary. But we're gonna get out of here. We've been going on for a while, but thank you guys so much for watching / listening. I've been spending a lot of time working on these podcasts, and so it means a lot that you guys are here and listening and all that sort of stuff. So thank you guys so much for all of this stuff. Like I said, next week we're going to talk all about the PlayStation 5. And until then, just see you guys next week. Adios.